Well, hello there. Welcome to another exciting edition of Raising the Cane.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho.
Don't say
Merry,
that on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Merry Christmas and happy holidays. You know, uh, I know the trend is saying happy holidays, but I still say what I do know as a compromise. I say happy holidays and I also say Merry Christmas because it's Merry Christmas. That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
So it's sort of
That's
been hijacked to
that's why
say
I'm wearing
happy
these horns.
holidays. So we're going to say happy holidays and Merry Christmas. So we're saying it. So Merry
Actually,
Christmas and happy holidays.
what I want to do is I just want to casually condemn anyone who says happy holidays.
Nah, we can't do that. It's nothing evil to say that.
That's why it's a casual condemnation.
Okay, because I say it too. Like I sent, um, I sent about 200 people earlier today. I said, please have a Merry Christmas and happy holidays. 200
Okay.
people
That's a lot of
in,
people.
in, in one email.
Wow.
One email, 200 folks.
Man,
And
that's a
so,
lot of people.
it- and a lot of people responded back, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Some said Happy Holidays, Happy Holidays. So there's two groups. And I think maybe one or two responded how I sent the message, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, Mr.
Yeah,
K. So I always say that Merry Christmas, that's how we grew up, and that's what it is to us. It's just
that's the
not just
season.
yeah, it's the season. It's a particular season. Christmas. It's not January. It's not November. It's well, what other famous holiday is in November for you fast people? Uh,
Thanksgiving and Veterans Day.
ding, 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 ding. You win the booby prize.
I want
So
November holidays for 500, Michael.
okay. Uh,
Actually, we also celebrated in our household Sangria Day, which was Wednesday.
okay. Happy Sangria Day. So
Or as you would say, Happy Sangria Day and Happy Holidays
right, equal opportunity here. Equal
and,
opportunity.
and Happy Hanukkah.
Happy Hanukkah. We do have Jewish blood, by the way.
Yeah, but I put a Band-Aid on it.
Okay. Well,
It's
we do,
also
folks.
Festivus.
Okay.
That's why we live Festivus because we every day we air our grievances.
Oh, okay. I'm catching up to your sort of humor.
You're gonna stop me if I'm going too fast for you. I'll slow down.
One, two, three, four,
Ho ho ho!
five.
It's still raising the cane.
Raising the cane.
Hey, are you
So,
familiar with the term Jolacoturin?
no. What?
Excuse me. Jolacoturin.
Jalakatorin. Jalakatorin. No, I'm not.
You sound disturbed when you say it like that, but
Jalakatorin.
yeah, you got to
What?
lay off that. That destroys people's uh, lives. Just say no.
Okay. Just say
But the
no.
Jolakaturin is
What?
the Yule cat of Iceland.
It's the what cat?
Yule,
The Yule.
Yule, cat. It's a giant supernatural troll cat in Scandinavia, particularly Iceland, that devours people, usually small children, that didn't receive new clothes for Christmas.
So if you're a child and didn't get new clothes, it wants to eat you.
Eats the child.
Does it eat the clothes too, or take the child first
Well,
out
you
of?
don't have new clothes, so it just eats the child. But I assume the Yule cat is not disrobing you. So it's just like if you're consumed by a bear or a shark.
But it's something about the clothes which warns it off, though, or welcomes it.
Well, if you're wearing the new clothes that you were purchased, then you don't get consumed.
But what if you mix match? What if your pants are new and your shirt is old? That means he only eats half of you. I stumped you. You
Yeah, I don't know.
can,
Maybe it
you can
seems to
say,
me
damn, that's a good question.
that's deep. That's deep. That's a deep Yule
Never
Cat stuff.
didn't take it that far in your research, huh?
No, I didn't. I
Yeah,
didn't
didn't
take it
take it
that
that
long.
far. Didn't take it that
But see,
far. Okay.
but
So
I'm gonna, and this article I'm gonna read excerpts from is from medievalists.net, and the article by Minji Minjie Su Su. So I want to give proper credit, and I'm gonna read just a little bit because I know we only have a 7 hour program today. No one is quite sure where the Yule Cat belief comes from, but what has made the cat universally famous, perhaps the poem by Johannes Koslam, who lived from
mm,
1899 to 1972, the beginning of which was cited at the start of this post. And the post says basically, you know, the Christmas cat, that cat was enormous. People know not where he came from, nor to what place he went. So that's an excerpt from the poem.
hmm.
The article continues. In Scandinavian folklore, witches and wizards often conjure up a creature called troll cat using various disgusting ingredients, which seems kind of judgmental to me, if you ask me, saying it's disgusting, such as dead men's nails and bones, to do the
Okay.
bidding of the troll cat. Shamans may also take up a feline body. Nut, Knut Stromdahl, who lived from 1881 to 1954, once recorded a story collected from Vevsen and Soma in Norway that a Finn takes the form of a huge black cat to inquire after the family of Johann Benedictson, a higher hand in Lofoten. As a token, the black cat stole a silver spoon from his homestead. All right, so that's gotten deep in the woods, but the basic thing is the Yule cat is associated with a special group of supernatural beings.
Hmm.
The central figure is Gryla, who may be understood as a dark, twisted version of Santa Claus. In fact, it kind of reminds me of Krampus, which is common in Central and Eastern Europe as this kind of goat hooved demonic presence that punishes and even um, terrorizes and murders people who don't have the Christmas spirit.
They
So
don't have
that's
the
worse than
Christmas
just getting a
spirit.
lump of coal. So
Hmm.
in post-medieval Icelandic folklore, Gryla is a terrifying ogress, the female equivalent of an ogre, which you
Okay.
should know from
I
Shrek,
got it.
or
Shrek. Who's
troll
that?
woman, yeah,
Yeah.
who mothered the 13 Yule lads. She comes from her mountainous abode each Christmas Eve and striding side by side with the Yule cat,
Mm,
devours naughty children, which is a little different than just eating those that aren't wearing their new clothes. So there's like variations on this theme here. But the origin of Gryla is almost as obscure as the Yule cats, but it is apparently rooted in the Middle Ages and even belonged. So, um, so there's relationships to trolls, which are usually hideous, inhumanly strong, lustful, and cannibalistic. Kind of like many of the folks from Pacoima. So that's just a little tidbit from medievalists.net, quoting some Scandinavian poetry, folklore, and
mhm.
mythology associated with Christmas. So,
Okay. You heard
so
it
don't
straight
get
from
devoured.
Raising the Cane.
Woo!
Watch out for the Yule Cat troll. He's coming to get you.
Yes,
Okay. Thank
but
you.
we're gonna not be naughty, and we're gonna wear our new clothes.
Okay. So anyway, by the way, we're absent a member. Sandra had other urgent matters to attend to. So she's not joining us on this episode, so boo hoo, cry, cry. She
Okay.
always like her her interventions with us in
That's right.
her
Keep keeping it real.
keeping it real, keeping it
Keeping it
real,
real.
keeping it real.
And we're going to dedicate this episode not only to the Yule Cat, but also to our missing Raising the Cane member, Sandra.
Okay.
And
I don't know
we
about
want
the
to,
Yule cat, but missing member Sandra, yes, but not a demon cat. No.
well, Troll Cat.
Okay, doing evil things, eating children is like sort of bad.
Well, naughty children and children not wearing new clothes.
Okay, maybe bad children. I'll give you a couple, but not just new clothes. No, that's wrong. What if
All
you
right.
just
Well,
want to, what if, first of all, you can't afford new clothes? And what if, second, you just feel like, do you every day wear new clothes? Can you imagine your budget for clothes if you
it's
wore new
but
clothes
it's Christmas specific.
Christmas? So it only comes to devour you or passes you by on one day of Christmas, the one 24th, 25th,
Well, I think it comes out Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve.
So I think
Because
if
you
you
may
make it
have
maybe,
new clothes in another day when Christmas happens.
well, I guess it sucks is you're so close.
But then new clothes, do you just have to have it in your hand or do you have to wear them?
Well, see, I think there's different variations of the legend. I think in some cases you have to be naughty, in other cases you're not wearing new clothes. So it might depend upon the specific town, village, or region of Iceland or Greater Scandinavia.
Okay, next time I go to Iceland, I'll look, well, maybe
I want
look
to
up.
go to Iceland actually.
We want to see the Northern Lights, Aurelis Borealis, and then we want to see the Blue Lagoon. Blue Lagoon. Remember the
The Blue
movie?
Lagoon.
Blue
Didn't you
Lagoon is
see
out
it?
there.
That's the movie with Brooke
Brooke
Shields.
Shields, you're right. When she was like a teenager, older teenager, I guess.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, we want to see the Blue Lagoon in that, and maybe have some Icelander burgers and fries.
well, beef, I take it, not the Icelanders themselves, because that would be cannibalism.
Well, after you just talked about the Yule Cat, maybe some inspiration here.
But see, the Yule cat is not strictly cannibalistic since it's only consuming human beings and not other cats. See, you're only a cannibal if you're consuming your own species.
Wait, say it again and let me write it down. Slow down. No, I'm just kidding.
It's just stop me.
Let me
I was
let
actually
me
going to
let me
slow down for you.
let me get my pen. Let me write this down. Let me see. Only if you eat people or someone like you or people, human beings,
Your own species.
your own species.
So I'm assuming you're a human.
Perhaps we're not.
Well, I am.
Maybe the mothership landed with us 300, 400 years ago. We've been here ever since.
There you go. Kind of sounds like Heaven's Gate, which you
I did
covered
say
in a
the
previous
mothership.
episode.
That's George Clinton too.
Yeah, that's true.
The mothership.
I want to dedicate this episode also to the Mothership Connection.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun,
Da, da,
dun, dun,
da,
dun, dun,
da,
dun,
da,
dun,
da,
dun, dun, dun,
da,
dun, dun,
da, da,
dun,
da, da,
dun, dun,
da,
dun, dun,
da, da, da,
dun.
da,
Yeah.
da, da, da.
Okay. That's our honor to the great George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic crew. So I think I'll listen to some after this podcast. I'm getting funky. Funk.
Well, if you shower it, I'll take care of it.
Okay. Every full moon. Every full moon.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go mooning your
Okay.
neighbors.
The
So
mooners. The
so
honeymooners. Yeah.
moving on to other nonsense for a moment.
Yeah.
What would you say would be your top 10 Christmas songs
Mm,
in order
that's in order. No, I don't can't tell you in order. I'm
with
not prepared for
lyricistic
order.
with lyricists and composers and date of release.
So no, no. Well, I like a few, you know, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus is coming to town, White Christmas, oh man, This Christmas by Danny Hathaway. There's the various versions. Chris Brown, I like it too.
Yeah,
And the Frosty the Snowman. Okay. So it's a few others. Um, but all I want, you know, Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You.
which is ubiquitous
Yeah, so
this time of year.
um be careful, warning. If someone just wants you at Christmas and not the other parts of the year, then there's a problem there.
Yeah, it's like 31, well, 31 days if
364,
you count the whole month of December. Now,
but
technically, speaking of medieval Christian practices, the
hmm
Christmas season only begins on the Western calendar December 25th
hmm
and continues for at least 12 days, hence the 12 Days of Christmas. Christmas, one of my favorite Christmas
oh yeah, I like that
songs.
song. Yeah.
And traditionally, it would continue until February 2nd, which was Candlemas.
Mm, interesting.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Well, I said it. So, yeah. you know, you, you, you see me speaking.
Oh no, paralyzed with knowledge.
I'm,
What's
I'm
that? I'm
dropping knowledge on you.
paralyzed with knowledge.
This is your Christmas present, Michael.
Okay, thank you.
I'm giving you the gift
Knowledge.
of knowledge, and no
Um,
one can take that away from you.
little cheap bat.
But
I like that
how about
commercial. There's a commercial where someone died in there with the attorney, and a young kid is right there, and the older family members behind him. And he says he left you all his plants, and they started laughing. They're assuming the planet plants, green, you know, horticulture plants. But he's
yeah,
then they're laughing and sneakering, and he said, and he's like, kind of wow, he leaves me some flowers and like flower plants. Then
cheesecake?
and when they were laughing and stuff, then the attorney says, "Oh, the auto plant, the this plant. These are like massive operations here." And then they're not laughing anymore.
No,
And
no.
he leaves in an Uber or something like
Oh,
that. And he had the last laugh.
that's great.
He says, "I leave you all my plants," and they were just thinking, "Yeah, oh, okay."
Cheap
But
bastard.
they mean, yeah, he left all the businesses
See,
to this kid.
those are the plants that matter.
Yeah. Then he turned, I think he kind of turns around slightly, like a kind of doesn't look at him really, but yeah, what are you gonna say now, you MFs?
Yeah,
Hey, look at me. Yeah, he left me essentially everything.
yeah. All the
Anything
income
money,
generating.
yeah, any money, wealth building tool he left them and left them possibly with just liabilities.
Yeah,
Because if someone gives you a mansion that's 50 rooms and you're making under 100, well, probably under a half a million a year, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it
no,
because that house is
no.
going to consume a big chunk of your salary to keep it running.
You won't be able to afford any utilities.
The electricity. Shut the electricity off.
Yeah,
Shut the
sometimes
gas. Did you call the gas company?
shut it off.
Get the 5,000 a month electric bill. Yeah.
Take out that landline.
Yeah. And that's not even the mortgage. He said, yeah, he left you the mortgage too.
Yeah, I don't need any water.
Fully assumable.
Yeah, yeah. You see, if somebody leaves you that, you want them to leave you like some kind of fund for operations.
Yeah, so be careful what you ask for out there and raising the
Right.
cane.
Let that be a
So
lesson
money,
to all of our
yeah.
listeners.
You know what? Let's talk about money. We're talking about wealth and I know New Year's Eve is coming where everyone does their New Year's resolutions and stuff, and we're at a time of recessionary times, high inflation, high gas, energy costs, food costs. And so I can imagine what the New Year's resolutions would be. in terms of the finances and getting your financial house in order. So, but we at Raising the Cane, we encourage planning,
Yes,
fiscal
we do.
responsibility. And I forget what they said with Christmas, that how they say with taxes that most people work 6, 7, 8 months just to pay the taxes.
Yes.
Well, people work dang near that just to pay the credit card bills after one day, which is Christmas,
Yeah.
and it's like it's a slippery slope, because do you want to see smiles on your children's or family's faces? Of course. Do you want them to experience joy of the gift of giving? Yes. But if you have to work serious overtime or 2 or 3 jobs 8 months later to do it, that's where the conflict comes in. So, you
Yes, right.
know, you know, it's tough, because if you don't make a lot of money and you want your child to experience the same things other families' children have, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to belittle that fundamental reason why this happens and make fun of it.
No.
Um, you know, because I can understand. Let's say we all been laid off. Remember, you got that feeling when you get laid off, and then your money, and all of a sudden you're counting pennies to make sure you have enough float to survive in the next few months till you find another job. But what happens if that happens just before Christmas?
That's right.
And that puts you in a bind. So yeah, I can understand, throw it on a credit card, and worry about it later. So
Oh,
I'm just
absolutely.
saying just be careful, because that I'm saying that now because again they said after Christmas is a huge debt just skyrockets in the country, around the world actually.
Yeah,
So
and
you
it's
don't want to
supposed to,
increase. Yeah,
and that's the aftermath of the happiest time of the year.
yeah, it's not going to be happy for the next half of the next year.
And then they'll be
So
singing, do they know it's Christmas time at all?
yeah, so and so just exercise wisdom and plan on a budget of because all the not every relationship is equal. So cousin Joe or something may your relationship, well, the budget for him is $50, but cousin uh Lisa over here, you've been tight with for 20, 30 years, and the budget for her may be 75 or 100. So I
Yeah,
would budget it out and have your max per each person based on your relationship,
there you go.
and not just based on expectation. Because see, that's when you're getting into the devil's playground, when it's just about what people expect, and that's a different podcast and YouTube video. So
And
expectations and stuff.
some people
Yeah.
should expect a fat lip,
Okay. Now we don't promote violence here at Raising the Cane, so we
unless
say
necessary.
Maurice is on his own with any comments or um
It's not the official position of the
not the
management.
official position of the management, right? And so now they use his video against you. You say if it was your word against someone else, well, he punched me first. Well, they showed this video.
Roll the tape.
Roll the tape. The prosecutor rolled the tape. Yeah, I think people should get punched. That's what.
But that doesn't mean I'll do it.
And then cut. And then your attorney says, "Oh," he looks at you. It's like, "Damn, why didn't you tell me that?"
No, then I'll punch him.
Why didn't you tell me there's a video out there on live stream there that has you promoting violence? Okay,
No, that's
but
self
anyway,
defense.
self defense. Okay. Okay, it could be self-defense. Yeah, the first punch could be self-defense because you saw
That's
someone
my
about to attack you.
well, that's my argument.
So that's the argument, huh?
What you can do, just
That's the
confess.
that's the only argument you got. What is
You what you gonna do, just confess?
because the other thing is just a pure confession. Yeah, I did it.
Yeah,
I said it. I mean it.
yeah, yeah. I
And
double
if and,
down.
and if he gets closer, I'll punch him again.
I'll punch all of you.
If this wasn't Zoom, I'd punch him again.
Yeah. In fact, I'll reach across. the
In fact,
distance and
in
boom.
fact, in fact, let me send my angry emoji and send it.
Yeah,
Can you imagine if there was 4D angry emojis or any kind of where you can push it, it comes out of the screen?
it comes out.
Man, that
That's the
dang.
next step. That's beyond
That's
virtual.
yeah, that's yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
man.
you be committing homicide through the digital realm.
Yeah, yeah. It's like you're like X-Files. Well, he never left the room.
Yeah.
But the person was dead 1,000 miles away. How did that happen?
He has an alibi. He never left.
And we have
He didn't
videos of
travel.
people that saw him. So how did he do it?
Yeah, I couldn't have done it.
Yeah, 1,000 miles away at the same time. Even
That's
if
not
you left the
possible.
house, you can't. You can't be there like at the speed of thought.
And Scully would say that's impossible, Fox.
Mm. And then they see some old man who got thrown out of the science community for being for crazy says 4D does exist. 4D, 5D does exist.
Yes.
And then Scully would say, "Well, how do you know? I created it. They shut me down. They took all my paperwork. I
They said
created
I
it.
was insane.
Yeah, and put me in asylum for 25 years.
Yeah,
He just
which is,
got out
which is
25
probably where he
years.
belongs.
Yeah. In fact, he didn't even get out. He's still there, and they find him there,
Yeah, he didn't.
and
He
then
never left.
never left. And
You
then a
know,
mysterious van is following them now. Okay.
in fact, there was a movie called The 4D Man decades ago,
Okay.
and there was actually a Marvel supervillain that fought the mighty Thor, and he was called the 4D Man.
Hmm.
I think in a future episode of Raising the Cane, we'll do an entire 3 hours on the 4D Man.
I don't know about that. That's nonsense. But anyway, just like your Yule Cat troll thing
That's not
that
nonsense.
we spent 20 minutes on.
That's
But anyway,
Icelandic and Scandinavian folklore related to the Christmas season. You heathen.
okay. Okay. You heard it straight from Raising the Cane.
Yeah. When we want
So
all the
anyway,
heathens and all the God fearing people, everybody listen. If you don't care if you're condemned to hell, just listen to our program.
man, that's excessive and extreme. Yeah.
Merry, Merry Christmas,
No.
you blankety blanks.
Maurice is again the management expressly does not condone such behavior, comments, attitudes, opinions expressed contrary to the personal beliefs
I
of
said Merry
management.
Christmas.
And so,
What do
anyway,
you want from me?
moving on from this level of nonsense. Uh, so,
Okay, so
huh?
here's a question.
Yeah.
Should presidents and other politicians be required to produce their income tax records before running for office or reelection?
You know what? I don't really care about that. I know a lot of folks on the extremes say, "Oh, we should see his record." Nah, we don't. We don't really need to, because they. Now, I do believe someone in high office should be vetted, not necessarily through tax returns, but through if they're like a serial rapist, no, you shouldn't be allowed to be president. So you should be vetted. I still believe in the vetting process because we don't want a total lunatic up there. Maybe partial lunatics there, but not total.
Well, we're
So,
just focused. Let's focus for a
but
minute.
but I would say on the tax returns, no. Short answer. They
Yeah, and
shouldn't be obligated.
and it wasn't until 1976, which was in the wake of the Watergate era, that you had the habit, tradition, or practice develop of presidential candidates releasing their tax returns publicly. And that was because of the scandals and the perceptions of the late President Richard Nixon, um, having an enemies list and the cover up of the burglary of the Democratic National um, um, Committee headquarters at the
Mm,
Watergate Hotel, hence the name of the scandal itself, which occurred in Washington, D.C.,
mhm.
and his having a hit list of political enemies that might be allegedly the target of IRS auditing. And so I think in order to correct or move the pendulum in the opposite direction, they started releasing their tax returns. And of course, that's what got the former president of the United States in hot water this week with um, the order that the returns be released, and they have been, and they've been discussed. But I'm of the same opinion as you are, because it's not in the Constitution of the United States of America that anyone seeking to serve as the commander in chief, the chief executive, the occupant of the Oval Office release his or her tax returns.
Now, I do believe they should sign something, and again, should be vetted out. I mean, tax returns is only one component to where there's not a conflict of interest of any kind. So I believe some homework should be done on each candidate and and to support that it's no major issues there,
Yes.
Um, I think that needs to happen. So I don't think it's in a vacuum. So because if I would say if you're not going to do the vetting and other stuff, then it would be okay for the tax returns. But since they have a vetting process, I'm thinking, if they do a good job with that to make sure if they're even qualified, which perhaps they don't, maybe, and maybe
Yeah.
and maybe don't do a good enough job of that.
But see, what are
But
we
yeah,
looking for though?
yeah,
Because the United States Constitution has certain requirements that you be at least 35 years of age,
hmm
that you be a native born uh, US citizen, um, and after that it's fairly open. You don't even have to have served any previous elected office,
hmm
and we see that with Trump and with President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who did that have qualifications being as the supreme Allied commander of the Allies in the Second
yeah,
World War,
that's very
and
important.
very important. And he was
That's
also
probably that's
president,
probably even more complicated than being a president, maybe,
oh,
arguably.
significantly so. And then
Yeah.
after that, he was president of Columbia University.
Mm.
I don't think anyone says currently that Eisenhower was not qualified to be president.
hmm
You know, um, I don't know. I mean, because there's also the custom of releasing health records on
Yeah.
a regular basis, even after someone has been elected to the Oval Office. And I'm not even sure about that being all that essential. If someone is acting coherently, they're not suffering some obvious cognitive impairment. Um, aren't they qualified? I mean, assuming that they're at least 35 years of age and
hmm
native-born U.S. citizen, which were the primary qualifications that are in the constitutional text. Now, there might be some problems with character,
Well,
where
that's why
a
you should,
person,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like you said, serial rapist or some,
Or a cartel leader, he's taking a break to be president,
yeah,
Uh,
like El
it's like,
Chapo. Well,
yeah.
he's not native,
hmm
you know,
So, yeah. But anyway, whatever.
whatever.
Whatever can we talk about? So, as we said, Christmas is upon us. This is our little Christmassy show, and Boy, this year flew by. What we're gonna say? You're gonna say something intelligent, I believe.
I was gonna start singing, "Do they know it's Christmas time at all?" Which was
That was.
popularized by uh, this all-star group of then contemporary British rock and pop stars in 1984, grouped under the umbrella Band Aid, which brought attention to the famine that
Mm-hmm.
was bedeviling the Horn of Africa at that time, particularly Ethiopia.
Right.
And there's an irony of the question that is the title of the song and which is repeated throughout. Do they know it's Christmas time at all? Because Ethiopia, also known as Axum, AXUM, was one of the earliest Christian nations. So clearly they know about Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And one might argue that there was this westernized perspective that because this is a nation that many uh, of the Anglo-Saxons and continental Europeans weren't that familiar with, that, oh, they don't know anything about the most significant liturgical holiday season that we observe in Western Europe and North America, Christmas. But
Mm.
they were practicing Christianity before the conversion of all those pagans and polytheists in Europe. So it's kind of ironic. Although, kind of
Mm-hmm.
tying it in with one of the questions I asked you earlier about your
Mm-hmm.
favorite top 10 songs of Christmas. That's one of mine, actually,
Mm-hmm.
despite
That's
my
good.
criticism of it from a historical and theological and cross comparative religious standpoint.
Yeah, I like Silent Night too.
Yes.
I always like that one. Um, I think the drummer boy is entertaining.
You know who does the best rendition of the Little Drummer Boy?
Oh no.
Jose Feliciano.
Oh, you know what? I think I may have heard his. Oh, and Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Yeah,
You know something?
that's
I could do without that one.
really
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Feliz Navidad.
Stop.
Okay.
You need to do some of that silent night yourself and be quiet.
Ring my bell. Ring my bell. Ring it,
You
ring
know,
it,
you know that
ring
thing
it,
you're
ring
doing
it.
with your lips? You
What?
should stop.
Okay. My feelings are hurting, man. But anyway,
Do they know it's
mm,
Christmas
mhm.
time at all?
I want to mention something, turning to the movies. I'm sad. The new director, the DC Films, is in hot water. A lot of people threatened him and called
James
him all
Gunn.
kinds of names. And thank you for interrupting, but thank you. Uh, but thank you for your
That's his
support.
name.
And I know his name. Again, I'm talking now. Excuse me. It's and that Henry Cavill is out, and I understand he wants to write a Superman film for a much younger person, which I get it. But I don't know. And then they scrapped the already filmed, my understanding, Wonder Woman 3. And so uh looks like and then it looks like Dwayne Johnson is out with Black Adam, and I know the movie is considered a bomb. It busted by projected losses of 50 to 100 million. So it didn't do as well as they thought, which I love the movie. I just like Black Adam, uh
I'm going to interject just something.
so I don't know.
Um, I, you know, it became the practice about 30 some years ago for the general movie going audience to evaluate, assess, and opine about major theatrical releases from Hollywood. So forget Bollywood and Nollywood and all the other film industries around the world, but just our own American red, white, and blue
Mm-hmm.
movie making
Mm-hmm.
constellation of conglomerates. You know, people used to just talk about how entertaining a film was, how much they liked a certain actor,
Mm-hmm.
their appreciation of a certain director, whether it was
Mm-hmm.
Spielberg or Howard Hughes before he went off the deep end, Alfred Hitchcock, and others, John Huston. And now everybody talks as if they work in Wall Street and they are responsible for assessing how successful a movie is. And they don't even talk about how they were touched by a movie or how they were outraged by a particular character in it. They think about the dollars and cents and what the grosses were in the opening weekend, what the budget was for making the movie in terms of salaries, um, the filming on location, the uh, advertising budget. What about treating it just as art and as culture and as entertainment apart from money making? For example, going back to what you just said about Black Adam to me was successful.
Mm-hmm.
You had, the Justice Society of America represented for the first time on the sensational silver screen. The JSA has been in the three seasons of Stargirl on CW. It was in Smallville. It's been in DC's animated productions. Now, I'm not sure what is wrong with James Gunn because there's something wrong with that man. Because to me, Cavill is the perfect Superman.
Oh, absolutely. It's like, and everyone agrees except for him. Haven't heard too much from his co-CEO. Co-CEO says, "Hey, I'm not saying nothing."
I know.
He's playing it
I don't
safe.
want that. In fact, he's treating bad publicity as kryptonite. He's staying away from it.
Shoot, yeah, he probably got to get bodyguards now. So,
But you know
not,
something?
you know,
Stop doing stupid stuff. You
yeah,
know?
just trying to overhaul by scrapping everybody or something. It's like, dude, you have a vision. I get it. He's trying to, but you know what? I would say after him doing all of this, that better be one good damn movie.
Oh,
Otherwise, they should get rid of him.
well, you know something? You know, and the reason he and his more anonymous uh, co-emperor of the DCU, which is replacing the DCEU, is replace they want to replicate what Kevin Feige has done with the Marvel Cinematic Universe or MCU. Because see, Kevin Feige, because he's the impresario, he's the ringleader, he's the composer, he's the Beethoven of it. He can basically have this overview where he can link the movies, the Disney Plus shows, um, into this unified whole. And so DC is trying to duplicate that.
But
And
before
James,
they did it, he built he built the house one brick at a time, though,
yes, they did. Yes, he did.
and they had individual movies first to introduce the character and get people to follow the character, and then they introduce other people, then other. It's like it was a layer upon layer, but the layer does start with the core. So I don't. Who knows? Maybe that's what he feels he's doing, but I don't know. Just to get rid of the existing Superman who just fits so well being Superman.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's equivalent of Kleenex being a tissue. Tissue. When people say tissue, they mean Kleenex, even
Yeah.
though that's just one manufacturer, one brand.
And remember when
So
people would just say Xerox, even for just using a photocopier?
yeah, it may not be a Xerox, but hey, can I get a Xerox?
It became a generic term.
So, so now he can prove everything wrong, James Gunn, by at the box office and
Right.
the financial. I don't think critical success means too much because in Hollywood, like you said, these Wall Street types, non-creative types are controlling it. Um, if it doesn't meet a certain dollar amount at that time, it's not really a good movie, which isn't necessarily the case.
Yes, there, as you know, commerce and culture have always been with us. In medieval Europe, uh, princes and barons and earls and monarchs commissioned great artists to paint and sculpt, and compose. And in some measures, it was for the glory of God.
Mm-mm.
Some was to give even more ennoblement of their families and dynasties,
Mm.
and some because they just enjoyed beautiful art. But at the same time, if you're a painter, sculptor, or composer, you're being paid. That was your livelihood. You may have ambitions of immortality as a creative presence, but see, that's how you put food on your table. That's how you nourished your family. That's how you were able to afford your lodgings. So there's always that interplay, you know, because you can create art for its own sake and say compensation be damned. But at the same time, we're all, to quote Madonna, we're all material beings living in a
Hmm.
material world. Well, she said material girl, so I'm paraphrasing it because I'm not female, nor do
Thanks for
I
that
identify,
clarification.
nor do I identify as such.
Hmm. So
You know,
anyway, well, we'll see what happens with DC, and then also obviously the MCU. Looking forward to future, films and other iterations of the Marvel universe.
yes,
And I have to say, I still gonna miss Iron Man and Captain America, and uh, and I know they've been tap dancing with Black Widow, like with the prequels before she's dead, but um, those characters, wow, I don't know
you know what I recommend people do?
what,
That's the right answer, or the question was the right answer. Go to
whatever.
your go to your friendly neighborhood comic book store. Those characters are still alive.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
In fact, um, I slowed down comic book acquisition during the Christmas shopping season, buying things for you, for example. But
Well, until I get them, I'll be grateful at that moment.
well, blame Amazon and tracking. But um, the comic books are amazing these days. Are very complex and complicated, and seemingly never-ending storylines and arcs. And Tony Stark in the comic books has lost his fortune to Phylon, a dedicated enemy of the X-Men. And Tony has been living in flop houses and overindulging his weakness for alcohol.
Mm,
Um, but and someone is trying to assassinate him.
mm. Okay.
And there's these epics that you're seeing in both DC and Marvel. In fact, both of them are really utilizing the multiverse amazingly and spectacularly often. And the multiverse really had its greatest original fruition in the pages of the comic books. And it's really taken off. I mean, even in uh, intellectual properties that don't have anything to do with Carmine Infantino and Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and Roy Thomas and Jack Kirby and all these other people who were the writers, the scripters, the pencilers, and the inkers that actually made the DCU and the MCU possible, because that's all originating from the comic books. That's the source material.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to some extent, with Thor, you also have the influence of ancient Norse mythology. That's why everybody can have their own version of Thor. It's
Mm-hmm.
like Dracula. That's popular domain.
Mm-hmm.
Like this comic book I read some time ago where Dracula bit you know bit Superman in the neck and he exploded, and that's because all the solar energy in Superman's body.
Man.
See, because vampires are basically supernatural, which is a form of magic, and one
Mm-hmm.
of Superman's vulnerabilities is magic. And so a vampire can bite into a neck of a yellow sun empowered Kryptonian and it'll penetrate the flesh. But what happens is, as we know from Universal uh, Studios movies from the 1930s and Hammer Productions in the 1950s onward to the present, that sunlight is a weakness of vampires in
Right.
the Hollywood sense.
Yeah. And it's a
Even though
source of
Bram,
power for the Kryptons,
exactly.
Kryptonians. Yeah.
And so you got that solar energy in a Kryptonian's body, and you bite into that. That's like you are me biting into uranium,
Mm-hmm.
or let's just say a whole lot of poison.
I like to see that scene where the vampire gets on him and I got you now, Superman. And then he puts it, go ahead. Boom.
It was a fantastic scene.
Where was this? What,
It was in a Superman comic.
man? But I'm saying see that in live action.
Oh yeah. Oh, that'd be fantastic. And at least that was the end of Dracula for a while in DC. He's more a prominent figure in the Marvel universe, where in a recent issue of Blade, uh, Blade was basically acting as Dracula's sheriff, trying to find out who was trying to kill him, Dracula.
Mm.
Well, that's interesting because here in the Marvel universe, uh, the vampires have their own separate country carved out as Chernobyl
Interesting.
because they can survive radioactivity.
But what about the food supply?
Well, that's a very astute question. And so there's an area which is less radioactive where they allow human tourists and employees, and and other places where they just kind of wear the protective gear.
Mm-hmm. Got a hazmat
Yeah,
uniform.
yeah, and
So,
there's always people who want to voluntarily serve vampires. Like Renfield from the Bram Stoker novel. He was basically Dracula's human servant.
mhm.
And
Oh,
it
yeah.
yeah, it's a quid pro quo because let's say, you're assuming that the vampires have that vulnerability to sunlight, and if they're sufficiently involved in the outside world, they need protection and they need servants who can operate during the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
But then they made the Twilight, the Twilight vampires could be there in the day.
the Twilight vampires are actually more like the original folklore from Eastern Europe, where vampires could function during the day.
Mm.
So Twilight, even though they're kind of sparkly and
Yeah,
romanticized, they're actually truer to the source material. Speaking of which, Robert Pattinson, who obviously was one of the major actors in the Twilight series,
yeah.
that man is impressing me more and more um, each day, week, month when I see him in non-Twilight roles, like in
Mm-hmm.
not only the Batman, which I think we've discussed,
Yeah.
but also more recently a 2019 movie called The King, which I just saw yesterday. So I mean, it's been like around 3 years, but I just saw it, so it was new to me. And he portrays the Dauphin of France, who the son of the French king, in this movie that's based upon the lives of Kings Henry IV and his son King Henry V. Um, and the Dauphin, portrayed by Robert Pattinson, is someone you just love to hate, and Pattinson does such a great job with that role. That role, and he was in
Mm.
like, you ever see this the Lighthouse where he's with Willem Dafoe and there are two lighthousemen,
No, I didn't see
and
that.
yeah, it's a black and white movie, but it's a modern film. Um, he has much greater range than I thought he had. Work. I thought, oh, this is just bait for hypersexualized teeny boppers who don't
Mm-hmm.
really know real cinema and literature and just being ignorant because their parents are ignorant. But man, he is so much better than that. It's like Leonardo
Mm.
DiCaprio. I just think,
He's
oh,
very diversified, man.
oh, now he is.
Yeah,
He was
he
just a
he
pretty boy in the past.
yeah. But I
You know,
like him in almost everything.
oh yeah, now,
There's certain actors, yeah, they just man, whatever the script or role is, they play it.
yeah, Denzel Washington, Christian
He's another
Bale,
one. Yeah, they just good in everything.
yeah, because they can do anything. Gary Oldman is another one.
Yeah, he said I heard he's gonna be retiring soon.
You know, and some of them do that on their own, like Gene Hackman. When he said he was retiring, he meant it.
Yeah, he's like 90 or something now.
Yeah, he's
So
older than you
yeah,
are.
he has more hair than you do.
Everybody does, except Telly Savalas, rest in peace.
Mm, leave him alone.
I love Telly
But
Savalas.
yeah, Mr. Lollipop Man,
Who loves you, baby?
who loves you, baby?
You know,
Mm,
the sin of being so young is not knowing the wonder of Kojak, which was Telly Savalas' signature small screen uh, crime fighting role. I mean, that was magic.
mhm.
What
Yeah,
network was that
so
on?
shoot, I don't remember. We only really had three stations back then, didn't we? I know channel 5, 9, and 11 were and 13 were, had certain things, but I think it must have been either 2, 4, or 7.
7. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I just don't recall.
Yeah, that's not important for the central point.
Yeah, so any rate, but
Yeah.
anyway, so what else? Whatever.
Well, I want to give a shout out to the late Franco Harris.
Yeah, I saw that he passed, and I remember him as a kid. Pittsburgh Steelers were my favorite team, numero uno, and I always liked him. And yeah, he was just what 70, 72.
72. and he died 2 days before the official 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception, which occurred in December, specifically the 23rd of 1972, where with 22 seconds left in a game played in the postseason between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Oakland Raiders, he caught this errant pass from third-year quarterback Terry Bradshaw, who we all know and love
Mm-hmm.
from NFL pregame shows and his own reality programming, and his unfortunate current battle with cancer. Through this pass that was supposed to be caught by one of Franco Harris's teammates, John Frenchy Fuqua, but Oakland safety Jack Tatum, who wrote "They Call Me Assassin," um, crashed into Fuqua, and then the ball went flying as Fuqua crashed onto the artificial turf of Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It ended up in the hands of Franco Harris, who runs it for a touchdown, basically
Mm-hmm.
winning the game. That the Steelers were behind 7-6 to the Raiders. 22
Yay.
seconds left in that game.
Man, that was great.
Yeah,
Always liked him, so he'll obviously be truly missed.
rest in peace.
And yeah, rest in peace, Franco Harris.
And and
And
his he was the son of a American man and a Italian mother.
always wonder what his or ethnicity was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So any rate.
So
So anyway, we're gonna have to wrap up soon. All right.
one other thing,
Christmas. Want to end on a
just one more
Christmas
thing,
song?
one
One
more
more
thing.
thing. Come on, because we gotta.
And you remember you were part of this when you attended the Reading Becomes Eclectic book club meeting that we had 2 days
Okay.
ago. Um, and we discussed Otto Penzler's The Big Book of Christmas Mysteries. And
Okay.
I would recommend that to all of the listeners on the podcast Raising the Cane, as well as our accompanying YouTube uh, production. It's 59 short stories written by various authors.
Do you have it
John
nearby where
McDonald,
you can show it? No.
yes, yes, John McDonald, Agatha Christie, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I'll hold it up, see if you can see it.
Oh, it's fading out.
That's because I'm in another dimension.
Oh, he keeps phasing in and out. Okay. I think we lost them both. Man, that's magic. Wow, you
Can
doing
you
a
see it
David
now?
Copperfield. See a lady. See Matthew McConaughey.
Well, anyway,
See
I
you.
gave the title The
No, it's
Big Book of
okay.
Christmas Mysteries,
The big book of
edited and with
Christmas
an
mystery.
introduction by Otto Penzler. It's a collection of 59 stories, all relating to the Christmas season. And it's, if you count the permissions, acknowledgments, and bibliography, it's 654 pages. But man, it's some good reading. If you like to read about uh, Christmas from the standpoint of crime and police procedurals and whodunits, and occasionally even a touch of the supernatural, that's the book for you. It's
Hmm.
available at Barnes and Noble and on Amazon and your
Okay.
other better bookstores.
Thank you for that. Talking about bookstores and books, my book is out there too on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Slaying Your Dragons, living life that you always wanted. That's right.
All
You,
right.
I mean,
I
you
bought it
always wanted.
and I read it and I enjoyed it.
That's right.
I would have
Live
given
the
it to you
life
for
you always
Christmas, but you
wanted.
already have a copy.
Well, I wrote it. So encourage you. It's a help book, The Slay Those Dragons, so you can meet your goals. So look it up.
Right.
Get us
Represent.
represent. So anyway, that said, we have to run. We have other engagements to go to. So anyway, thank you for joining us. Please subscribe, pass it on to other friends through YouTubers, through Amazon, through iHeart, Apple, right? Spotify, et cetera, et cetera. So we
Yes.
appreciate you as always for watching and listening to us. And so we wish you a very merry, merry, merry Christmas and happy holidays. And until next time on Raisin, okay.
That's right. And for those who are about to celebrate Diwali and Kwanzaa, we wish you well.
Wish you well. Happy Kwanzaa.
Wear that dashiki.
Okay. See you later.
See ya.
Canes out.